Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of this replay between Czech and Prime here on Steps of War. Mutalisk doing a constant harassment and just moving around inside the space. Infestors being built up as well, so those stores are going to have a much more difficult time. Those Mutalisks really not taking out anything, taking a round of missiles from 2 of those stores. Stores unable to really do any additional chasing, and now this missile turret too far away. These Mutalisks will be able to deny the gas over here. SCV is trying to repair, but that's not going to work out too well, as the bouncing damage is going to cause the destruction of a lot of these SCVs. Yeah, so 3 or 4 of those SCVs now taken down, as one Thor coming on up to try to push away those Mutalisks once again. Still, Czechs macroing up to a fairly large army now, 158 over 182, as now another Hellion going to go ahead and try to do a little bit of a Hellion drop here. And no, the medevac once again pulling away. How's this all going to work out? Will those Hellions be able to come in and take down more of these drones? Wow, 2 drones already quickly getting taken down. Another 3 drones taking down those Hellions with that Infernal pre-igniter upgrade, able to dish out that damage and then dealing terrible damage towards all of these drones. Mutalisk and a Queen finally able to stop that harassment, but the damage has been done, and Czech will be forced to produce additional drones off of 7 or 8 larvae to really regain that economic advantage. You can see Czech dropping to 53 harvesters compared to Yellow's 63 harvesters, as now Yellow is going to go ahead and take up his 3rd base over here. SCV is already being transferred over from the main base, so gonna fully saturate this location very easily. Back over here, yeah, there's only 4 mineral patches left, not very much left behind there, and now upgrading to a planetary fortress. So Yellow with that planetary fortress will pretty much make any Zergling push very minuscule. In comes with Czech, so Czech may try to do a drop with roaches and Zerglings, and as soon as those Zerglings and those roaches are able to just scamper around in that base, it is going to be very difficult for Yellow to really do anything about it. He doesn't have the infantry to really counteract this. Siege tanks and marauders are just so slow, and in comes the drop of Czech. So Czech now dropping in all these units, doing a little bit of an engagement. How is this all going to work out? Will he be able to deal enough damage? One Overlord just running headlong in for nothing, and now Medevac's coming back in. Siege tanks now moving on up. Czech really not utilizing too much out of this drop. The drop was just sitting here for about 10 seconds, not dishing out damage, and that's really what prevented anything. But there's a second attack coming over here, and wow, so the roaches and the infestors pushing in over here instead. So this is a 2-pronged attack, and now Zergling's still going to perhaps try to finish back over here. So very nicely done. Czech now going to start trying to destroy some of these supply depots, perhaps going to start supply locking some of these buildings as well. Marauders and Hellions now moving on in, and now Zergling's going to try to finish off the rest of this here. Supply depot is going to start burning down unless an SCV begins the repair, but still nicely done. Nicely done by Czech. Czech really just putting constant pressure. Another supply depot taken down, and one of those had that supply drop, so that was really 16 supply lost off of 1 building. Now we have Vikings coming over, and now gonna just be able to get some free kills on these Overlords. Vikings are able to move a little bit more quickly than those Overlords. 4 Mutalisks gonna go ahead and do a little bit of an engagement there. And 1 Viking gonna get taken down. A 2nd Viking may get taken down as well, as those Mutalisks are able to fly a little bit faster. And that Viking quickly taken down as well. So Yellow really losing his units, not playing altogether too well. We have a couple units sitting in the middle of the field, and now we're getting into Broodlords. Broodlords are gonna be coming, so it's gonna be Terran mech versus Broodlords and roaches. We also have 6 infestors, so those infestors should be able to come in and start neuroparasiting some of these stores, but really unable to get into position. One of these Broodlords is going to get taken down before it hatches, and now here comes this fight. Broodlings now coming in, taking down the Thors. Siege tanks trying to fight back. Roaches coming in as well, but there's no Vikings in the air. Those Broodlords should be able to just focus down those stores and then finish this once and for all, but no, those Broodlords deciding to pull away, and really those Broodlings are causing a lot of splash damage from those siege tanks. Really, the siege tanks are dishing out the majority of this damage here, as Czech now continuing to move on in. The SCV's repairing these units here, and now that Broodlord is going to get, or 1 Broodlord focusing back, pulling back. 1 Thor taken down once again, and Thor is just trying to run away, trying to get repaired by those SCVs. These siege tanks are upgraded 1-0 along with those stores, and now only 2 or 3 Broodlords left in this whole entire engagement. Army-wise, we are sitting at 3,300 over 3,400, so both sides fairly even. But Czech has a little bit less harvesters, and now Yellow going to be making a move towards the high-yield mineral location. These gold minerals over here to the north side of the map. Siege tanks moving in. How is Czech going to respond? Czech's going to respond by running straight headlong into the base of Yellow, and now all of these siege tanks are going to be moving back. 2 Nero Parasites quickly coming in, and now these Thors and these siege tanks coming in. Broodlords trying to fight back against these Vikings, but no, sorry, Thor's fighting back against these units over here. Siege tanks now moving on in, and Czech losing a lot of his army. Things are not looking good at all. The Viking, the siege tanks, the Thors able to push on in so easily. Very nicely done. How will Czech be able to counter-respond, producing up 42 Zerglings and 6 Mutalisks? So we are going to have mass Mutaling coming in just a moment. Zerglings are now running on in, and these siege tanks, however, are not sieged up. I saw one Broodlord coming in trying to fight back even further. One Viking, or a couple of Vikings now trying to shoot down this one Broodlord over here, but those will it be able to take it down? Yes, able to take it down just in time before the Mutalisks are able to finish it off. SCV is now running into the base, trying to take down, repairing all of these units, trying to dish out damage as well, but with no anti-air, Yellow is going to be forced to pull back with all of these siege tanks. All these siege tanks are getting just torn apart by 8 Mutalisks, so 8 Mutalisks really just able to come in, focusing down some of these siege tanks. Another siege tank taken down, and are going to go ahead and focus down one more. There he goes, one siege tank down to 5 hit points, and even more getting taken down. No Marines to be seen anywhere in the middle of the map, as these Mutalisks are able to just push back this whole entire attack. The proper unit combination of Czech, constantly switching between Broodlords, Mutalisks, and Mutalisks and Zerglings, are able to just dish out so much damage. You can see all of these units here, and Yellow taking so many losses. SCVs taking that chain damage as well. Another siege tank getting taken down, and really all those SCVs trying to repair each other, just getting frozen in their tracks. This is not looking good at all. Trying to get within range of one of those missile turrets now, and those Mutalisks finally taking damage are going to be forced to pull away. But wow, nicely played by Czech. Czech using those Mutalisks was able to just even out this fight. Yellow really needs to get better unit combination this whole entire time. Yellow stores are upgraded 2-0 along with those siege tanks, Marauders as well, but really we need to see some Marines. You can look at this. Yellow sitting on 1,200 minerals and only 200 gas. He is so gas locked that it's not even funny. Marines from a reactor, stim packs, combat shields would be enough to really handle this large army of Mutalisks. Mutalisks now coming in once again. Those Mutalisks should be able to really focus down. Actually, no, 3 Thors is probably a little bit too much, especially with that weapons upgrade. But those Mutalisks instead moving over to try to take down some of these siege tanks. One missile turret gonna get quickly taken down before it's even completed. Another one over there, and still Zerglings now just running rampant within this base. Yellow running back and forth with such a slow mech army, unable to really handle the very mobile army of Czech. Czech moving with these Mutalisks, may be able to finish off this last missile turret and then run free on this particular expansion. Thors still running back and forth very, very slowly. These Marauders can just be taken down so easily. Once again, the main hatchery over here at this expansion was taken down earlier, I believe by a drop. Sorry that I missed that. Just trying to watch everything that's happening in this fight. Thor's continuing to fight. Missile turrets being laid down, so SCV is trying to be a little bit more offensive as well, trying to put down missile turrets in position with the jobs of what Marines should be doing. And now trying to come into the main base, 2 missile turrets able to shoo off this whole entire attack. And now the Mutalisks may be able to come in from the back over here, as it's fairly wide open there. Down goes one missile turret, and now these roaches should be able to come on in, focus down another missile turret. There it goes. As now Vikings coming back in as a little bit of engagement, and those missile turrets can be rebuilt as those Mutalisks trying to pull away. Long distance mining over here, not quite sure why he just doesn't transfer those drones over to these particular mineral patches. Back over here, drones being transferred to this high yield mineral location, as well as SCVs coming back from the field to do a little bit of harvesting perhaps, or more repairing. army-wise, we're taking a look at 31 for Czech, 39 for yellow, and both sides trying to gather up. Both sides not really harvesting all too much. Czech able to mine about 1,000 a minute almost, while NC yellow now able to mine up a little more. Coming back in here, Roach is doing a little bit of engagement. Stay tuned for part 2 of this replay, or part 3 of this replay between yellow and Czech here on Steps of War.